Hello folks, welcome to Unicorn Light Tarot. So honored to have you here today. So today I thought what we would do is we would check in on relationships. So the question today is this relationship good for me? And it's going to be, we're going to use the pendulum for the yes or no. And then we're going to use the oracle cards and our tarot cards for clarifiers. So the question is this relationship good for me? Now, this could mean anything. This is also a timeless reading. This could be a relationship with a person, a relationship with food, a relationship with your job, a relationship with religion. It could be absolutely anything. So let's take a minute and think about what it is that you want to ask about, or who it is that you want to ask about. And to be clear too, not only is this a timeless reading, but it really does correlate to past, present, and future. For instance, if you are looking to find out about a relationship that is already past, insofar as like this person is no longer in your life, but you're looking for some clarity about that relationship, this would absolutely work for it too. So that's what we're doing. Is this relationship good for me? Sorry, that's my cats in the background having having an argument. Obviously, their relationship is not good for each other right now. So let's just take a deep breath and we'll ground into our energy here. We have 3 piles as usual. The first pile has this beautiful turquoise. The second pile has this gorgeous amethyst here. And the third pile has this beautiful tiger's eye. So again, is this relationship good for me? If you need to go ahead and pause the video, do whatever you need in order to give yourself a little bit more time. And then the timestamps will be pinned underneath or will be in the description box underneath. So you can go ahead and just pop to your pile, whichever one that you chose. I'm also going to do a little bit of Reiki. I have my Reiki wand here. As always, I open up every session with the long distance Reiki symbol, so we're all set up for Reiki. If we need a little bit of help or need a little bit of extra healing with anything that comes up, we have the Reiki wand and we'll be using that to facilitate healing and support and groundedness too, should we need it. All right, so let's go ahead and move these away for now. And okay, pile 1. This is for you. So I'm going to put the turquoise. If you chose the turquoise, this is your pile. I'm actually going to let it recharge up here. So again, is this relationship good for you? So first thing we're going to do is pull in our pendulum. Is this relationship good for you? Let's see. Round and round and round. Okay, so the pendulum says yes. Pile 1, if you asked about the relationship, it is good for you. Now let's find some clarifiers for you. Laughter. Laughter attracts unicorns. That's so beautiful. Assessing. Okay, 10 of spring. Ask for help. Unity. Do the right thing for the right person. Compare traditional versus new approaches. Okay. Wind, activation. Tradition. 5 of wands. And 5 of swords. So immediately here we have 555. So there's an essence of balance here. So we've already been told that the relationship is good for you. So that's wonderful. Let's find out why. Because you came to this wanting to have some clarity around the issue, so or around this question. It's not an issue. So I feel as though the first thing that I'm getting here is that there is this need to balance, or this wanting to balance. And the first thing I'm getting, and this is a general reading, so you know, I'm just going to give you the messages that I'm getting. We're going to move on because I feel like this is not going to resonate with absolutely everybody, but the one thing that I'm getting right now is the relationship is to balance within yourself. So you're actually asking on some level if if your relationship with yourself is a good relationship. And again, just to clarify, it's yes. So I feel as though there's been this beautiful need to balance within oneself. And again, of course, it's necessary to balance. Sometimes when we overthink things and we really try to balance, we sort of come out of balance. We can over focus on the balancing. And that insofar as doesn't really allow us, quote unquote, to balance and but if we did let go, then the issue of balancing becomes a non-issue, and then we're able to balance. It's also a matter of doing things one way and going one way and then another way, and not going to the extreme and then trying to balance from that. So I feel as though the one thing that I'm getting very, very clearly is that you're working on letting go. You're working with going with the flow. And I feel as though for you, there's an essence of you that's very childlike and beautiful and is able to do that. But because of what you've gone through in the past, you've not always been in a position to be the carefree, laughter, go with the wind kind of person, because you've been the caretaker, or you've been the one that's either people have unloaded everything on top of you, or you felt responsible for everybody, including aspects of the world. You've taken on so much, and you were strong enough to do that, but you shouldn't have had to have done that. But I feel as though from a very young age, from a child, even like age 5 here, but in and around 5, 6, 7, you were sort of a grown-up before you were a child, and you took on so much. I feel you took on far more than you should have as a child. And I don't know if it was put upon you necessarily, or you felt as though the people around you weren't doing what they should have. So you sort of, you found yourself with a huge amount of believing that you needed to take on so much responsibility from a young child when you should have just been a child. So I feel as though, again, a general reading, most of you are actually asking about yourself. Now, if you asked about a specific situation and you asked about a specific person, that person and that situation is a direct reflection of you. So it still comes back to the fact that even though you're asking from an external point of view, another person, a situation outside of yourself, the answer actually for you, Pile 1, is that the answer is within. The answer is that person is a reflection of, not inner turmoil, but, your inner sense of peace or lack of. The person or the situation that you specifically asked about is an actual reflection of that. And what your subconscious was really asking about was the relationship with yourself. So the relationship with yourself is you have often picked up other people's burdens, and you have doubted that you are an amazing person. Now, you are an incredible person, because you really should not have picked up any of the external burdens of other people. And the fact that you were able to do that and still sort of survive, although I sense sometimes you felt as though you were going a little insane, which I totally understand. The fact that you were able to do that is absolutely beautiful. Now, what you are working on, again, is the letting go, the balance, and the unity between your soul, yourself, and the external world. So there's a few things that I'm being told to tell you right now, is that the way in which you work, and the way in which you see things, is a beautiful kind of balance between brand new and tradition. So you have a very traditional aspect to your personality, which is truly gorgeous. And I think that's what a lot of people are actually attracted to. Because you are grounded, even though sometimes you may not feel like it, you are grounded, you're certainly earthy, and you have a sense of sort of tradition in a way that sort of respects other people's traditions. So people come to you, they trust you. You are trustworthy. And perhaps that's why you took on so much. But I feel as though the inner struggle is for you now is to release all that no longer serves you. And a lot of that is the external that was never really yours to bear. So, sometimes when we take energies on, we infuse it with our own, and we never really truly sort of let them go to the point where it's just us again. And you've taken on aspects of the world too. Let's bring this card up, which is truly beautiful. So I feel as though none of this should be in any way, let's see, ask for help. And that's another thing that you've been doing. You've been asking for help. You've been seeking help. Now, even being here, pile one, is seeking help. This is something that you're not very, you've gotten a little bit better at asking for help, but you also are, because you're the one where people come to all the time, you don't feel as though you're in a position to always ask for what it is that you need, even though you are constantly surrounded, or you have been in the past, constantly surrounded by people who had no qualms about asking you to do things, drop everything, let's do this. You've always put other people first. So I feel as though you are doing the unity, you are bringing yourself back, you are assessing all of this. None of this should be a surprise to you. All of this should resonate and ground within your soul. So the one message that I'm getting that's really important for you to bring the last piece of this sort of puzzle together, as it were, is that the external world, and again, their opinion of you is none of your business whatsoever. So the way in which you do things has a touch of the traditional, but then you do things very much outside of the box. You really do work with your own intuition. And this too, Juno, is a brilliant goddess for you to get in touch with. I feel like she would be there. If you're not already familiar with her, in some sense, in the actual sense of working with her, I recommend that you do. I really feel as though this is a strength and a grounding that you can achieve through this goddess. Just even look her up, and a simple meditation will bring you there. But I feel as though with the elements, with the activation, you are the wind aspect with you, where you just fly and do whatever you want to do, is a direct balance of this traditional aspect that you have in yourself. And you have been assessing how to do things. Now look, she's looking at the moon. So she's doing things outside of the box, you quote unquote, this idea that, she's doing things sort of like magically, or listening to your intuition. And every time you listen to your intuition, that's when you are going to move forward and do things on your own terms. When you take on other people's energies and you try to work from the tradition that you do have in sort of a very sort of practical way, things don't always work out for you. You're very practical, and that's fine. But sometimes when you move forward, listen to your heart, follow your heart, and follow your intuition. That's the way to do this. And then bring in the lightness of the laughter. Sometimes you really hold yourself down because you're pulling in so many others' energies, and then you mistake it for your own energy. And then, you can find yourself crying over something that's very seemingly little, but because you're overwrought with so many different emotions, you're not letting go, you're not releasing. So again, let's go back to not only other people's opinions of you don't matter, but the idea that the way in which you do things and the way in which you are in the world doesn't need any validation whatsoever. You don't need anyone to tell you that they understand you. Now, other people will understand you. You're going to attract people on your own frequency, and your frequency will go up exponentially when you let go of other people's worries, when you let go of the worries of the world, and when you stop taking on other people's energies, which are weighing you down. Go back to the laughter. Go back to understanding that, life is based in the moment, and that you have an infinite amount of possibilities in that moment, and that you're not responsible for anybody else's energy. And in that same way, you're not responsible to make people listen to you or understand where you're coming from. So that's another thing too, the way in which you communicate. You are blocking some of the manifestation that you have out there, because you're expecting people to understand you. Not everybody will understand you, and you're expecting people who will not understand you to understand you, and then you get upset that you're not being understood. As long as you understand each other, I mean, yourself, your different components of yourself, as long as you understand yourself, Do not expect anybody else to understand you. Now, the truth of the matter is, like I said, once your frequency is pulling in people on your same frequency, everybody in that frequency will understand you. But it's not your job to be understood by everybody or anyone. And you explaining yourself does not do any good either, because if you need to go to the point of explaining yourself, then you've already lost the power within that situation. So for you, it's about balance, getting back the power, getting back your unity, going with the flow, listening to your heart, listening to your intuition, letting go of everybody else's, honestly, pardon my French bullshit. And that means you need to cleanse from all of those times that you took on that energy, balancing the tradition and the heartfelt sense of self. And also continue to ask for help when you need to. And don't be ashamed that you ask for help. For somebody who accepts that everybody else needs help, I don't know why it's so difficult for you, or for you to be so ashamed when you ask for help. I know that you started stepping up and doing it. Well done. But don't feel bad when you do it. You are asking for help from the right people, and they will be able to give it if they can. And if they can't, they'll let you know. There's nothing to be offended about. So let's do this, pile one. I'm trying to think now. So I'm going to do the Shanti symbol here. This will bring you peace. Now you should be feeling a little heavier, because it's going to ground you. So just breathe in that energy. I'm also going to do Chokure, of course, which is the power symbol, which is going to send that closer to you. And I also want to do Rama. This is Karuna Reiki specifically. I love this. Now this brings peace and cleanses, works on the lower chakras, which is where some of that old energy from other people is lying. So we're going to pull out that energy now. You should be able to feel it. You should be feeling lighter, but also be feeling grounded and earthy. And we're going to just do the Chokure one more time with the power symbol. So we're just going to cleanse there on the first and second chakra too, and the third chakra, which is the chakra for you, which is the I am chakra, of course. So just breathe into that energy of Reiki. And after this little session here, drink plenty of water and just sit with the feeling of being light and just holding your own energy. Holding your own energy. And remember, the answer was yes. This relationship is definitely good for you. But not only is that obvious, it's good for you, but in a different way also, you are on the right track. Remember the assessing card. You're doing this, you've done this, you're on the right road. This was just to remind you that you're on the right road. So I'm really excited for you, pile one. You are shedding the old, moving into the new. This is something that you were doing anyway, but I feel like as a process, you're coming out on the other side of that. So you're really going to be feeling brand new and feeling that higher frequency. And that's the other thing that we can do. We can really raise in frequency when we let go of what's holding us back. And a lot of that is not you, it's others. So if this resonated with you, pile one, I sincerely hope it did. Give me a thumbs up. Do let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. I always love to hear from you. And I want to thank you for being with me today. And until we meet again, take care. Bye-bye. Okay, pile two. This is you. I'm actually going to move this to the middle. So if you picked the amethyst here, I'm going to put that, see if it'll recharge on the side. Then this is for you. And just as a reminder, is this relationship good for you? This is a timeless reading. It could mean anything, anyone. And these are going to be your clarifiers. But for now, let's bring in the beautiful, okay, it went to no, but that doesn't mean anything because that was just the way that I pulled it forward. So is this relationship good for you? Let's do a proper one here. Is this, oh my goodness. All right, you know, I really just, is this relationship good for you? Okay, it went to no again. You know what, okay, this is what I wanted. I'm feeling like that's not indicative of where we're at yet. Okay, forget about it. So we had no, and then we had forget about it. So we did it several times. So let's get some clarifiers right now. Future, let go of the past and move forward. Okay, self-love, and it's reversed. Okay, Princess of Summer. Gentle, sensitive, kind, new relationship or emotional experience. Okay, so positive changes are on their way, which is wonderful. The Five of Winter can be a bit of a tough card sometimes, but we're coming out of that. So it's Six of Winter, perspective, Prince of Pentacles, okay, Queen of Pentacles, and Five of Pentacles. Okay. So the first thing that I'm getting here, and again, I do want to remind everybody this is a general reading. I'm just making sure that you can see all of this. But I am getting that this is somewhat romantic, very different energy to pile one, which was not remotely romantic, not really. So I feel as though you're asking about a specific situation or a specific person. Now, I feel as though I keep getting pulled in the direction of trying this relationship on versus brand new relationship, wondering if it would be working, or again, this is several different things, or somebody who's in this relationship and has been in it for a while, but something shifted so it feels brand new, and what feels brand new is you, so you're kind of waking up to it. So it went to know, and then it went to forget about it. So we're going to go with that. So, you know, I don't like saying no to anything. I don't believe there is a wrong or a right way to do anything. So let's just go with that pile too. The message that I'm getting is very firmly is that regardless of no or forget about it, which is a little dramatic, is that you can do better. And this is something that should be resonating with you. So obviously we have the self-love, which is upside down, which is reversed, and we have perspective. Now we also have the future, let go of the past and move forward. So I feel as though there's work that needs to be done with oneself. Now, I feel as though you're in and around a relationship, and for some reason, this could be either a business partner, I'm feeling sort of work situation where I'm feeling two distinct different things. So this is a business or a work situation which is slightly negative, and it could be one person that's giving you a hard time. And for some of you, it's a romantic relationship. But regardless, it's a relationship that is not supportive. And that's the most important thing. It's not supportive. And I feel as though it's working on a lower frequency, and you need a lot of support and love around you. Everybody does. And I feel as though whatever situation you're in, and when I first started this, Paul, too, it was very strongly romance, and now it's very strongly gone into the business sense. I don't know if these are overlapping, if there's somebody romantic in the business sense, but whatever situation you are in, it's causing you to doubt yourself, which is something that it's never really, really good. It's also taking away your power, and I feel as though this person or this situation is purposely doing it, and not purposely insofar as they're walking in with a black cloak going, ha ha ha, I'm going to get this person today, but there's something in their energy that has no problem whatsoever either putting somebody down or making them feel better by making others look silly or something like that. I feel as though this person is driven by the ego and either doesn't have time or really doesn't want to work with the shadow self and doing the self-work that one must do. Everybody must do. Nobody comes out, nobody is born. Well, everybody's born maybe without baggage per se. We're born into certain lifetimes, of course, and we have karma. But nobody is born as you grow up. Everybody has baggage, is what I'm trying to say, and nobody gets away from that. And in order to, sort through the baggage and figure out what you need and what you don't and transform, you have to be willing to go and do inner work. And that is tough work. And not everybody wants to do it. And I totally understand why everybody wouldn't want to do it. But at the same time, if you don't do it, I feel as though you do project onto other people more. Now, it doesn't mean to say that others don't project, but when I project onto other people, I'm able to see that I did that. And I'm able to pull back from it and make some sense from it. And if there's an apology that needs to come from me, I'll do it. I may not like to do it because pride comes in, but I will do it. So I'm responsible for my own energy. It does not mean, though, that I don't, pardon my French, fuck up. But I feel like this person has not even gotten to that stage. So whoever and what situation is around you, it's slightly negative because the other person is working from their ego. And I think they're also somewhat pissed off with the fact that other people have done the work and they haven't. And they're actually envious of that. But they're not taking that envy, turning it within and actually using that energy. Instead of projecting that envy outwards, they're not using that energy that they could internalize and do the work and then not be envious. But they're not willing to do that. So I feel as though on this other person, and I think it's really important to have this balance here. This person is seeking balance, or the situation is trying to balance itself out. But the person involved is not willing to do the work. And while we can have empathy for them, it doesn't mean that we need to excuse their experience, oh God, what is the word I'm looking for? The way in which they're acting. We cannot excuse their actions. And you shouldn't have to. And I feel as though that's being projected upon you insofar as like you're even being told, oh, you're overreacting, you're this, that, and the other, but you're not. It's very masculine energy around you that's slightly negative. Now, this got nothing to do with gender, but it's slightly masculine. And I feel as though the energy that's around you is sort of battling with the divine masculine and trying to integrate that. They really don't understand the difference, or they haven't figured out yet the difference between force, moving forward, and being gentle. And I feel as though in some ways they're a little bit more inexperienced than they're making out to be. So instead of walking up or walking into a situation and being honest and saying, I really don't really know what I'm doing here, I'm going to do my best, they're actually pretending they're more of an expert than they really are. And that's causing some friction too. Now, again, I'm definitely getting like business, love. It's kind of across the board here. Normally I get something that's a little bit more specific. So I feel like with this reading, with the general reading, everybody was supposed to hear this. And again, this could all meld into one. It could be either a love attraction that's at work, and maybe they treat you differently at work than they do normally, or maybe it's a work situation, or maybe it's got nothing to do with work and it could just be a love situation. But either way, I do feel it's romantic. And again, it's either a relationship that you're trying on, it's brand new, you're asking about. And again, if you've come here and you're asking about it, it should resonate with you that you can do better. Now, again, I do want to stress that it does not mean that you need to put up or make excuses for the other person or this situation, but judging them is not going to do anything. But at the same time, putting your own energy first and saying, again, the message across the board, regardless, the message across the board is, I can do better. So the beautiful thing is positive changes are on their way, and that a new relationship or a new situation is coming your way. And with the future, you do have a signifier. You do have a beautiful relationship in mind. I feel as though you've been manifesting this relationship, and maybe this relationship or this situation sort of came at you, and you're wondering whether, you should go through it, and maybe it will start like this, but it'll turn into something different. So something better. So the good news is that whatever situation that you're in or you're trying on about per se, there is a chance that it could shift and it could turn into something more positive. But that's not going to be for many of you. For most of you, I would say it's about walking away and admitting to yourself that you are worth more. Now, I think your perspective here, let's shine some light on this. I think some of you are coming from the fact that you believe that you don't possess enough self-love. I'm going to stop you there. I think that the message that I'm getting here is that's a little bit inaccurate. That's not the whole story, and we'll leave it at that. I think you do have enough self-love. I think what you do is you surround yourself with people that don't have enough self-love, and you are empathic and you're picking up on their energy. I think if you remove yourself from this situation, You actually have a lot of self-love and a lot of self-appreciation. I just feel as though it doesn't have enough room to manifest the way that it should. Let me tell you, somebody who has, zero self-love or self-love in reversed would not have been able to manifest or understand this future. And I feel as though this is somewhat in the past, because even though it says future, it says let go of the past and move forward. I feel as though you're willing to do that. And on many terms and on many paths, you've done that and shut the door. And I also feel as though, the positive changes are on their way. They probably are already coming. And a new relationship is there for you for the taking. And this could be a new relationship or a new work relationship. So I feel as though you've already put that out into the atmosphere. You've already put that out there. And it's tangible. It's coming in. Somebody with a lack of self-love would not have been able to bring that in for the frequency as clearly as you have. So I think all you need to do is cleanse yourself of this situation that says forget about it, where you know that you can do better, and remove yourself from it here and allow yourself to balance and pull back your power in that way. Now, you're the Queen of Pentacles. You can do anything. This reversing is you dumbing yourself down to be in this situation. Why do that? I feel as though you have an excellent sense of humor, but for some reason, I feel as though when you are very humorous, and sometimes it can go maybe a little on the sarcastic or dark side, you get accused of being a smartass or or facetious or something like that. And that's absolute crap. You have an excellent sense of humor. When was the last time you laughed in this situation, or that your sense of humor was appreciated in this situation? I feel as though you're dumbing yourself down in order to stay in this situation, but you've manifested otherwise. So be safe in the understanding that wherever you're moving forward, that's where you should be going. And it's on to bigger and better and greener pastures. My goodness, you are worth so much more. So for Reiki, and again, we've already set up for the long distance before I set everything up here. So I'm going to send you, let me think. First of all, I'm going to do the power symbol here. And then I'm going to do Seiheki. I'm going to send that to you. So just ground yourself and take a couple of deep breaths. And I also want to do one of my favorite symbols, hearth here. This is Karuna Reiki. I want to send that to your heart, so you know that you are worthy and you've got this, and just stop dumbing yourself down, my darling. All right, I am sending that to you. You really do have an excellent sense of humor. I can see you laughing all the time. Create that excellent sense of humor everywhere you go. So we're sending that to you, to your heart. Now that's just going to clear out all the old, so your frequency can sort of higher, raise itself. Couldn't think of the word, raise itself, and then bring in this brand new. That is actually on its way. Again, this is tangible. This is tangible. So if I can see it in this way, it means that you've been working on this for a while. This you've been working on, and this, I think it's just sort of the perfect life, and there's nothing wrong with this. You definitely want the right job. You definitely want the right relationship, the right house. A sense of traveling, but also a sense of a groundedness in this earth. You want like one house that's yours, that you can, that's yours, your home, your safe spot, and this is something that's been with you from the beginning, and you are actually tangibly pulling this in, and it's coming in. This is manifesting. Let's bring these up. And your perspective. So none of this should be a surprise to you. You should be knowing that you totally can manifest all of this, and you've been doing it. You should feel it already. So for pile 2, well done for recognizing, well done for moving forward, well done for saying, and if you haven't yet, then you will. This is me. I deserve more. And now you don't have to say it to the other person or the situation. You can just say it to you. That's always enough. But however you do it, well done. I'm excited for your brand new beginning, which is literally just around the corner, and you deserve it. So if this resonated with you, pile 2, I said pile 1 before, I'm sorry. Pile 2, do give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. I'm really excited for your brand new beginning. You deserve it. And until we meet again, take care. Bye-bye. Okay, pile 3, this is you. Now, let me put this in the middle so we can start afresh. Now, if you pick the tiger's eye, which I'm going to put here to recharge here, this is you. So, again, no, the no does not count because that gets pulled in that direction when I pull it forward. So, as a clarifier, let's just remind ourselves, these are going to be our clarifiers, but let's just remind ourselves, is this relationship good for me? It's a timeless relationship. It can correspond or mean absolutely anything in your life. We're going to do this right now. Is this relationship good for me? And then we're going to use this as clarifier. And then some Reiki a little bit to support you. All right. Okay, no. Now, I'm going to do this one more time, and I did this with pile 2. I just want to make sure that it's a no. And I also want to see. Okay, so we got a double no there. So let's get some clarifying cards. Now, this is what I said for pile 2, which also get a no. Now, it's all about perspective, so I don't want to be dramatic. I don't believe in good, bad, yes, no. But let's get some clarifiers and see. The first thing you've got is choices. There is another way. Ask your unicorn to help you find it. Okay. Strong, patient, self-sufficient, funny. Queen of Winter. Let go of people and things that no longer serve you. Okay, now we have the Nine of Winter here. Unfounded fear. Focusing on worst case scenarios. Okay, allowing worry to grow out of proportion to the problem. Purity. Gaia. 9 of Pentacles. 3 of Cups. How wonderful. Wheel of Fortune. Beautiful. Okay, so we have a couple different things going on here. Let me just push this out of the way because we already know we've got to know. So, first of all, the one thing that I can feel pile 3 is that, and I'm trying to see if this is a situation. I feel as though for most people it's a situation, and it might have to do with finances. But the one thing that I'm getting first of all. So let's just give you the messages as I'm getting them and see how they clarify as we move forward. You've put yourself into this situation headwise, and you've gotten yourself into a little bit of a dark space. So, and you have forgotten in this dark space that you do have choices, okay? And I think your pragmatic mind is trying to, I can see you sort of in a little bit of a hole, and this is how your mind is showing me, and you're trying to dig yourself out. Now, the first message I'm getting is you don't need to dig at all. You've forgotten that you've got choices. And you've also forgotten that your mind is really powerful and you put yourself into that box or that position in the first place. And in order to get yourself out of that, you do not need to dig out of it whatsoever. You really don't. You just need to shift your perspective. And remember who you are. Remember your power. So you are strong, patient, self-sufficient, and funny. And I have no qualms that this is you. So we have a dichotomy here. You have your sense of power, and yet you are constantly returning, and I'm going to say returning. This is not going to be easy to hear, pile 3, but even though you've done a crap load, excuse my French, you've done so much work on yourself, and you've really healed so much, and you've moved forward in such a brilliant way. And I feel like a light worker, empath kind of vibe from you. You keep going back to older situations that no longer serve you. And you know that they don't serve you. But your pragmatic mind is. And sometimes I feel like the financial element of, well, if I don't do this, what's going to happen? No. I totally understand. I totally understand why you would feel that. And I certainly didn't mean to have a mocking tone there. I totally understand, because it is a serious situation. You keep returning to situations that don't give you the freedom that you are absolutely craving. Now, you require freedom on all levels. You are a free bird. Some people like being sort of codependent on other people. And you know what? There's no judgment here. If it works for you, it works for you. But you are a freedom person. You are a freedom person, and you see money as freedom too. You want money for freedom. I see you as the sort of person who wants a lot of money so you can help others, and wants a lot of money so you can have the kind of life that you want, and want the freedom. You don't want it to be rich. You don't want to have a status symbol or anything like that. You want to use money in the way that it should be used. And honestly, that's how I see money, as a way to gather freedom. And if you can, provide that freedom for others. So you're absolutely brilliant in that way, and there's no doubt in this lifetime that you will be doing that. And all of your energy, that when you put all of that energy behind this understanding of freedom, there is no stopping you. No stopping you. I mean, when you have that connection to your life and that profound sense of freedom and wanting to provide that for other people in many different levels and many different forms, which incidentally you are able to do both in your personal life, financial life, work life, whatever. You're absolutely able to provide that for people. Then you are absolutely on the right path and you feel very connected. Now you have a sense of self that keeps returning, though, to the old situations that never served you. In some ways, they could have gotten you sick, certainly mentally, maybe even physically. But yet sometimes you return to those situations. Now, it's partly because, there's a few things going on. They don't feel familiar to you anymore because you have actually outgrown those situations. But the practical mind comes in and says, well, I can do it for a little while until something else takes off. So what happens is there's a little bit, you feel this intimate connection with your path and what you're doing, and the connection with people around you, and specifically what you're doing. You're some kind of light worker or whatever, some kind of creative person. You could even be working with people, like not with addiction problems, but whatever it is that you do. You provide a service for other people that's really incredible, and you're not afraid to get to the roots of any problem and show people. You guide people to the roots of where they believe they've gone wrong, and you show them that they haven't and that they're loved. And there's so many different components to this, and you're able to do that and guide people in such a loving way, and people trust you. So they're able to heal with you so much quicker than they would with other people. You've also done this for yourself, so you're well aware of how this all works, and you're brilliant at what you do. And when you do that work and you're connected to it, you're fantastic. Now, if this work isn't moving quick enough for you, there is some self-doubt that comes in, and then you return to these older situations, which is why this came up. Older situations. Now, that could be people too. Older situations, let's just be specific, older frequencies. And again, not because they're familiar, it's because whatever it is that you want, which is huge and vast, by the way, and you will receive it in this lifetime. Maybe it's not coming the way that you think it is, or maybe you're a little bit impatient and you don't see the signs and you're wondering if it's manifesting. So there's a little bit of distrust with the universe delivering. So you return to these old situations and these old people. Now, you don't feel the same when you're around them. And very often, these old situations, when you go back, they're not exactly explosive, but they don't work out because the universe is saying that you've outgrown them. Why are you returning? Whereas before, when you return to these situations, and I feel like you have systematically through your life, they wouldn't have blown up, or you would have gone through them and stayed in those situations much longer because you had to learn the lesson that you weren't there. I feel these situations sort of fizzle out really quickly these days because there's nothing to learn from them. But what it does do is it takes you down this road of self-depletion, self-doubt, which is something that you don't normally on a day-to-day basis deal with. But these situations bring up the self-doubt, and then you start doubting the universe, then you start doubting yourself, and then you start doubting your path. Purity, your path. You see, she has something over her eyes. You doubt how amazing you are. And then on top of that, you've got a little bit of, not only do you doubt how amazing you are, but then you wonder if you're worthy of everything that you've asked for from the universe. Well, of course you bloody are. I mean, there's no reason why you wouldn't be. There's no judgment from the universe. And the only reason why you're getting these doubts and putting yourself into this 9 of Winter situation, which, by the way, you do not need to be in, this is all self-done, is because you're returning to these situations that are no good for you anymore. So all you need to do when we already heard no twice. When you're thinking about returning to these situations, and it could be a person, a situation, something that you would do financially for a living until something else takes off, something like that. The minute you think that you are returning to this situation. I'm only going to do it for a little while. If I don't do it, we won't have money, or this person won't have this, that, and the other. Just remind yourself that the universe is there to step up to give us a different choice. It's not just that one way of doing it. And if you go on that path, it takes you down this negative path and honestly blocks some of that manifestation that you've already put out there, and delays honestly, at this point, I don't like saying anything's owed to anyone, but some of what's owed to you, because it's karma. If anything, you're blocking it by going down in this direction. And again, I think this happened in pile 1. Don't dumb yourself down. It's okay to say that, I've outgrown the situation. I don't need to return to it. It doesn't mean that you think you're better than everybody else, or you think you're better than this situation. It just means that there's nothing more to learn from that situation. There's plenty more to learn from other situations, just not from that one. So for you specifically, the answer is no. You don't need to go in and do this, even if you think it's just for a small amount of time. You don't always need to listen to the practical mind. You just need to trust Gaia. I mean, she's right there, trying to give you more choices and tell you that if you have faith, there's another way to make that money. There's another opportunity coming in that will serve you, that will serve as a stepping stone to your next stone, a stepping stone on the path of where you're going. There's no reason for you to step off the path or go backwards in your path to do whatever you need to do now, but still manifest from a completely different way and asking for another path, if that makes any sense. What you're doing is slightly counterproductive. You're asking for this great thing, believing and very much in tune with the fact that you can get it. And instead of putting your heart and soul right into that, you're willing to sort of go back and do other stuff which doesn't feed your soul, which will lower the density in your frequency, which you have, instead of putting all of that energy into believing in yourself that you deserve it with your purity that you've come in here. You're a very pure soul. That's not to say that you've not been through crap and that you've not done things, but you're pure at heart. There's a beauty in you. And to put yourself into a situation where you doubt that on any level should say to you that you don't need to do that anymore. Remember, this is all self-inflicted. And the people that will be around you too in this situation, if you dumb yourself down, are still working on stuff that you've already worked through. Now, please be clear. Let's be clear on this. What you do for a living, or what you actually do in the world, let's be specific. What you actually do in the world is help people through that, but you do it from a platform of love. If you demote yourself and sort of try to be the sprinkle of light in the darkness, all you're going to do is give them a flicker. So this idea that you've been through so much, you can put yourself into any situation and thrive, in theory, that is true. That is absolutely true. The point here, and the last message for you, is why do you keep trying to do that? Why not search for all of the beauty in the world, put yourself into those beautiful situations, and stop trying to put yourself into these tricky situations? What you're trying to do, essentially, Pile 3, is to make things more difficult for yourself, because you're used to doing things difficult, making things difficult and doing things the hard way. Now, in the past, that worked for you, because while you did that and you did things the hard way, you learned so many damn great lessons from that, because you piled it on. You had to get through it. You don't need to do that anymore. So don't dumb yourself down. There's no need to do any of that. So the answer is no. Have faith. New choices coming in, and get yourself out of that perspective. You deserve the new path and the new life that you've asked for. You've manifested it. It's coming. Do not take your energy off that right now. Dumb yourself down and delay that manifestation that you've worked so hard for. And never put yourself in a position where you are lowering your frequency if you can help it. And you can help it here, because you're the one putting it in there. Remember the connection that you have when you do what you're supposed to do here. Remember, not only traveling, but working internationally. You can do this and be known for it. You'd be fantastic. And don't worry about the financial stuff. The freedom is there. You see it as freedom. You're going to get the freedom. She's holding the dove. You've got this. You're going to get it. It's right around the corner. Just hold on a little tighter. Don't worry. Stop the self-doubt. So we're going to help you here, and I'm going to do, first thing I'm going to do is the Choku. So take a deep breath. We're going to ground you in, and we're going to ground in the understanding that you're exactly where you need to be. Stop going backwards. You know, there's nothing for you to learn there. There just isn't. So that's the power symbol. I want to do a say hey key for you here too. Put that there, and I'm going to send that to you. We're going to put that in your first and second chakra too, your creativity chakra too, because sometimes you cloud that up when you go backwards because some of your creativity gets blocked a little bit, and then it blocks your third chakra, the I am chakra, which is the chakra that reminds you how pure you are and how beautiful you are. So that gets a little clouded when you go backwards. But you're not going to do that now, are you, pile 3? No, because you know better. You know your self-worth. You're all good. So we're going to send that to you now. I also want to do a hearth symbol here, which is Karuna Reiki. We're going to send that right to you. And I'm going to do the power symbol right after that. So we're going to send that to your heart. So you should feel a little opening in your heart, little fluttering there. So just breathe into that. And I'm also going to do the Rama too. Rama, 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 Rama. I love this symbol. I'm going to do the power symbol here. I'm going to send that too. So the Rama symbol is going to create a legacy between your first and second chakra, and just clear those out and ground you into those chakras, getting you ready for your brand new beginning. And then the power symbol will just do what it says, give you extra power. So just breathe into that, pile 3. You are on the right path. The good thing about this is that in this situation, this has all been in your mind. And once we realize that, we can walk away from it. You know, everything is perception. Technically, everything is in our own mind, but yours really is. So that's wonderful. That is really, really good. So you are on the path to some amazing manifestation, which you've been working on your entire life. So you are owed this. You're ready for it. And I'm terribly excited for you. I really am. So just keep the faith in yourself, the universe. You've got this. If this resonated with you, please give me a thumbs up. I'd love to hear from you in the comments, especially if it resonated. Drink some water for the Reiki. Know that you are loved and honored, and everything is going to be totally fine. And remember, you are here in this universe. You are the only person that is like you. You are completely unique, and don't ever forget that. All right. Until we meet again, thank you for joining me today. It was an honor to read for you. And until we meet again, take care. Bye-bye.